9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Well, a big happy Monday to everyone, and welcome to WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. I am your professor, Gerard Bonner, or whatever other wonderful names you want to call me. It's a big week, folks. It's the first week of December, the last month of the year, which is crazy. We're coming off the heels of Thanksgiving, Survivor Series. There's a lot to talk about, family, and we're going to get into all of it. But first, I am not traveling alone. I have just enough people where I could almost have a full War Games team. That's what we've got today. And if I'm going to war, I definitely want this one.
It's the Queen Bee of WWT, Wrestling with Honey with
Honey Pop Predictions.
Wrestling with Honey's in the building. How are you?
What is up? Happy Monday. What's up, everybody? How's it going, Professor? How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good. It was good. How about you?
Good. Busy.
Good.
Very busy. Busy like a bee, as usual.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I realized this year for Thanksgiving is I've made some dietary changes over the last year. And so in trying to eat as I used to eat, I couldn't quite do it. So I didn't quite get a full plate. Like I ended up eating barely half of what I had gotten on Thanksgiving Day. So it made leftovers a little bit different this year. But yeah, it was kind of fun. And it's worth it. You know, when you lose a little bit of weight and you change your diet and stuff, it's like, okay, cool. So yeah. I'll live with that. Plus, you know, we got Survivor Series and all the cool things. So, yeah. But I will tell you guys once everybody gets on what my dish of choice was, because yeah, it was right. Now, if you're going to go to war, I think you kind of need a fanatic. You need somebody who is just going to go ham because they're a massive fan. And I think the elite one probably would do well. Courtney's in the building. Courtney, how are you?
Yeah, it is good. It's December. So it's a lot that's happened over the weekend, but I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving outside of, well, my team losing on Thanksgiving, but overall, it was a great day.
Oh, very good. In everyone's life, some rain must fall. I get it. It's all right. But I'll tell you what, probably of all of us, the one best suited for war.
It's Councilman Pharaoh of Strattonville with his Parisiac constituents.
It's that laugh for me, man. It's the laugh. Councilman, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing today on this Monday?
Doing well. How was Thanksgiving for you?
Thanksgiving was cool. This is my first. Let me not say that for somebody to get upset. Let me rephrase this. This is the first Thanksgiving I can remember.
I
didn't want to say it was my first to be like, I've invited you to this. But like, this is the one I most recently remember. Thanksgiving. It was good, man. This is the first, I will say, this is the first time I've been somewhere where everyone has brought different dishes for the Thanksgiving, and all of it was good. Not one of those, I scooped this to, make you feel good, but it's going to stay on the plate. No, everything was good. Everything was good, except this movie we watched with Cuba Gooding Jr., who played an angel that had to help us fight angels and demons, and they wound up not even really fighting them. And for some reason, Denise Richards is in it. I'm like, yo, this movie is terrible, and it's but we watched the whole thing.
Was it on a streaming service or a channel?
It is on Amazon Prime. This is an Amazon Prime movie. And it is a sequel. And they was like, listen, we got a sequel. We got to go big. Get Cuba Gooding Jr. to get blue contact eyelids. And he's going to play Balthazar. And I was like, what is this?
Wow. Wow. I was not expecting that.
Oh, it was great. It was
at all. Well, shout out to our friends in the chat. Pat Chu is in the building. Always good to have you. Aaron Teagle, welcome aboard. Cousin Ron, good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. Eric is in the building. Special Nobodies is in working late. Thank you for checking in. JD is here. Wonder if it has a better Rotten Tomatoes rating than Joker 2. I don't know. I don't know if the councilman can let us know, but yeah. What a funny way to, it's a wild one. Here's what's interesting to me. So my dish, first of all, if I'm really going to enjoy Thanksgiving, I need to have stuffing. Like that's my thing.
Yes.
Hold on. I gotta ask it especially because of where you are. Did you have stuffing or did you have dressing?
I had stuffing. It came out of the turkey.
Okay. But you definitely know the difference.
I do know the difference.
Okay, because we found out a lot of people didn't know the difference between stuffing and dressing.
But do you want to explain it for those who might not be aware of the difference? Because there may be some watching who don't know the oh boy, Cindy.
It's like taking stuffing and making it into a casserole and it's a little more moist.
Right.
They got just a little bit more in it, so you can scoop it and eat it, and it's just got a lot of flavor in it. But it's just like more like wet stuffing, if you will, and it put.
You would have enjoyed the stuffing that I had because it came out of a jerk turkey.
Oh my Lord.
Oh.
Yes. A jerk turkey and listen, it will change your entire life. I promise you. So yeah, it's incredible. Cindy, thank you for starting our December off right. Said stuffing is just cabbage.
To be fair, shots were fired last Tuesday. So she's coming in hot because it resparked on NXT.
Wow.
Yeah.
I must have missed that one.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Hey, Dylan, good to see you. Aaron says, what's up, Professor? Without Queen Bee, how are you guys doing? We're doing well. And we're about to get into a fun show. There's plenty to talk about. We're going to get into some AEW stuff. We'll get into some TNA news. And of course, we're going to talk about 3,653 days. If you don't know what that means, I'll enlighten you before the end of the show. But first, let's talk about Survivor Series. Of course, took place over the weekend. There was a wonderful watch along that happened. There was a full-on post show, so you can go there to get all of the details. Of course, on the women's side, this was the winning team. And I started to say led by, but depending upon at what point you caught the Survivor Series, at one point it was Bianca's team. Then at some point it became Rhea's team. And I'm still not sure whose it is, but it's the winning team of Bianca, Rhea, Bayley, Io, and Naomi. They were victorious. And then, of course, we had the men's War Games match. We'll get into the men's one in a second. I quickly just want your thoughts very briefly on the match. We won't get into heavy detail, but what were your thoughts on the women's match, which I will just kind of rip the Band-Aid off and say there's been a lot of conversation about the women's War Games match. So let's get into it. We'll start with you, Courtney. What did you think very briefly about the women's War Games match?
When I first watched it, it was kind of mayhem pretty much throughout the whole match. And also, even though there was conversations with, Rhea and Bianca and who was leading captain, it gave every lady an opportunity to shine on War Games. Like, of course, we saw Io Sky, Tiffany Stratton going off the cage on the top rope. We saw Candice LeRae get a few hits with the chairs. Of course, we saw Nia Jax come in, and we saw the fire extinguisher that was led by all the ladies, and Rhea Ripley using her face mask before she took it off as another weapon. Also, seeing Raquel Rodriguez handcuffed, but even though she was kind of trying to defend Liv, she was still handcuffed. But it was really nice to see just all of them getting an opportunity to really shine on that stage. And also, of course, seeing the winning team. But also, of course, there was a lot of stare downs during the match. Of course, we had Io versus Bayley staring down. So there's a lot of animosity between them and not letting bygones be bygones. But I really did enjoy the women's for Survivors.
Okay. Councilman, briefly your thoughts on the Women's Survivor Series match.
I have filed a conjunction against this match and the person that organized this because I do not appreciate them making my client jump off the cage the same time as Io did. Everybody know that girl got a trash can on her. Ain't nobody looking at my client. The girl got a trash can on her. All right? I see what y'all was trying to do to my client, and I don't appreciate it.
Did you want to file a conjunction or an injunction?
Conjunction, whatever your function is, Professor.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking with the commissioner.
I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill right now.
I mean, there is a lot to be said in that match because I mean, she did bring out some weapons, and inside one of those weapons was her Money in the Bank briefcase. I mean, how do you explain that?
Kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
And that was my other thing because burglary is also something that need to be talked about because the last time she checked, her Money in the Bank was in the locker room. So who put it in the trash can is what there's an inquiry going on in the back. And I don't care what nobody in this chat say. Nia Jax was the MVP of that match. And I'm going to say it and strike the controversy like everybody else need to hear it. The wrong team won. Team Morgan should have won. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well,
but it was a great match. I will say that. It was a good match.
Okay. Honey.
I would have to kind of agree with that, Councilman. But and
that the wrong team won.
I will because I think so. Honestly, as much I just feel, but there's this one little thing. I feel like in the beginning of the match, it was a little bit slow for me. Like it just like that. Like I was ready to see, women go to war, and it was just giving. I don't know what it was giving, but it was just giving slow in the beginning. But Nia definitely was a highlight in that match, and even though she didn't quite throw the chairs correctly or, pretty much hit them with the chairs or swing safely with the chairs enough. But I was just like, girl, put them down and just continue doing what you were doing before. And the girls eventually got a little bit of their licks back. But I mean, can you really bet against the Queen of War Games in Io Sky with her moments, with the EST, with Rhea Ripley, all women who are experienced in war games. Yeah, I mean, I think that Liv Morgan's team did or could have had a little more up their sleeve, but yeah, maybe the right team did win, but in my eyes, I feel like Liv Morgan's team should have won. I just felt like there was a bigger advantage there.
Well, let's go through some of these comments because there are many. So Dylan says women's war games left a lot to be desired. JD says don't skip over the chair shots from Nia. I need some closure. Boza says that's what the matter with the fact that the war games was all about Rhea versus Liv. Okay. I read it as I saw it. I didn't quite get it. Cousin says, can someone teach Nia how to swing a chair safely? That's funny. Cindy says, lots of stories could have been told and weren't. The first half of the match was kind of awful. Io saved the match for certain. The crowd blew up because of her. They didn't even pick who attacked Jade. I almost think Jade was written off, so Bailey could be in the match. So all right, I'm going to address a couple of things. In regards to the Jade situation, I will say, I think sometimes we want resolution a little too quickly.
We was talking about that in the post show, Professor.
We want resolution a little too quickly. Us asking, who, I don't want to go this far back, but I will. Survivor Series, whether people realize it or not, has often been the place where mysteries have started. If you go back to the Attitude Era, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin that got hit by a car at the Survivor Series.
Yes.
And the big question for the better part of a year was who hit Stone Cold?
Yes.
And it would be many, many months later that we would get the famous line from Rikishi, who I did it for The Rock. And then, of course, years later, his sons would end up in War Games. Funny how that happens. I think we have to be willing to play some of the long game. Again, as a community, we have to pick our struggle, right? Like, we can't say we want long-term storytelling, but tell me who shot JR, right? Like, we can't quite do that. So I think in this case, when it comes to Jade Cargill, we got to wait on this one. And we should wait. We should wait. We should let cases be built for who attacked Jade, to the point where we almost forget, and then the pieces kind of come together a bit later. So I was not expecting finding out who ambushed Jade in this scenario. All right, let's go through some more of these comments here. Women's War Games got 38 minutes and 15 seconds. It took 25 to 30 before the match beyond could begin. Let's see. Boza says it's been 5 months of Will Tiffany cash in. Again, I say, you know what? I happen to love the fact that Triple H is making everybody wait.
Yeah.
We need to wait.
It's a
Just
surprise
wait.
every time we see the briefcase too, because it's like I almost sometimes forget that she's still the Money in the Bank winner, that she hasn't cashed it in yet. So it's like a good job at like, oh, don't forget she has this little thing. Don't forget. And
the idea of cashing it in the middle of War Games was a brilliant play. Both champions laying there, you can take
right
your
there
shot.
at
Like,
any
it's
moment.
a brilliant move. So
You're welcome.
How kind of you, sir. How kind of you. Let's see. It would have been, let me go back to Eric says EO is Miss War Games. Courtney Cole, welcome aboard. Nia was the MVP. This is an interesting take, this Nia as an MVP. Let's see. It would have been better if it was EO versus Liv for the women's world title. Okay, these takes are wild. Liv versus Rhea needs a break.
Yes.
I think that's what's gonna happen though.
I mean,
final chapter. I hope.
Give it. I mean, Rhea said in the press conference that she was going to yield to EO since EO's the number one contender, and then we'll see what happens out of that. And let's see, Bailey and EO Sky win their first women's War Games match in their career. That's not accurate, Chris. Sorry. Let's see. All right. And Cindy O coming back. EO has won 3 out of her 6 matches. So I guess I didn't even have to say that, did I? The briefcase is the only way you can take the belt off of Nia and keep her looking like a monster. Yeah, it's interesting. I will say that I think, and my only commentary on this is I think Nia starting didn't make much sense. Only because as a monster, do we expect you off the top to have 30 minutes endurance and still be a monster after 30 minutes? There's that. Secondly, it definitely felt like it felt like she was aware, almost too aware of her strength, and was afraid to use her strength.
Exactly.
War Games is where those chair shots should be the nastiest, and you should be throwing people and all of those kinds of things. So I do think that having Nia in to start probably wasn't ideal. I think having her come in at number 3 or 4, or even at 5 to kind of do cleanup is a different ball game. And I think you look at that situation. But that was that match. Now let's get quickly to the men's War Games match. And what were your thoughts on this? OG Bloodline versus the new Bloodline. A lot happened. We will touch on the injuries, so please don't get to those yet. But I want to get your thoughts very briefly on this match, the men's War Games match. We'll go in the same order. Courtney, we'll start with you.
Oh man, there was a lot during the men's match. And also, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there were some parts of it when the stare down between Roman and CM Punk, it actually shot over social media overnight, which was absolutely crazy if you saw some of the stare downs of them with each other during the match. And also, it was pretty much, and seeing like the Usos back into their old form when they were a tag team together, it was just a nice, wholesome moment. But the guys, there was pretty much a little bit of chaotic. And then, of course, we see the wise man, Paul Heyman, come to ringside, trying to convince Punk and Roman Reigns, say, look, this is War Games. You got to get going. Let's get to the match. And also seeing him at outside of the ring, I don't know what's he thinking, but that's really interesting because knowing he has that look on his face, but there's a lot of questions and answers because I'm curious on what's going to happen on SmackDown afterwards, after the big victory from the OG Bloodline. And after this, they got to focus on Rumble, and then it's towards the road to WrestleMania.
Councilman, scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate this match, with 10 being absolutely loved it, 1 I couldn't stand it?
I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
9.5. Okay.
This was like watching the Avengers again. This was like WrestleMania in Philly. This was great storytelling from all around. I've never seen a table explode before.
2 tables explode.
Like normally you see it. I said on the post show. Normally you see it do this. I've never seen it do this and then this.
Yeah.
I was like, the table exploded. But what I really saw and I thought was really cool of the fact that Jey Uso came out last.
Mm-hmm.
To be made as to where Jey Uso is. Like, if you didn't think Jey Uso was main event Survivor Series, with that alone just showed you where Jey sits at in this company. And so I just thought that was really cool. Even the stuff with CM Punk, I like that it's not something to where we're gonna have to consistently see it. It's that crossover, like when the X-Men gotta go fight Magneto, and they was like, "Yo, Spider-Man's here to help us real quick for this one episode." That's what this felt like. So great match, match.
Honey, scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the men's War Games match?
This would have to be a 10 out of 10 for me, only because there's so many elements and layers to this to this War Games match that it just continues. And I seriously, really, really seriously want to know what inning we're in. I really do. And I think I'm lost at this point, and I'm just going along with it for the ride, because this story this is like the song that doesn't end. It's such a good song, and you don't want it to end, you know. And seeing, of course, the OG Bloodline come out on top, of course, acknowledge your tribal chief Roman Reigns, Jey Uso's Jimmy and Jey Uso doing their thing, man. Seeing them was so wonderful and so great to see them again, you know, be one unit. It had been literally over a year since that. Sammy Uso, of course, doing his part, and then CM Punk as well. I did enjoy the friction going on between him and Roman before they were coming out, and then him shoving Roman out the way, because we know this is to be expected of CM Punk. CM Punk doesn't take any orders from any tribal chief or anything like that. He is his own tribal chief in his mind. So I just can't wait to see where this story goes and where they go from here. It was basically like Solo's ending was basically kind of like Denzel Washington Training Day ending. Like, you know, like he's just like this his final you know, showdown against the good guys, and they're all just ganging up on him finisher after finisher, and it was just absolutely really, really cool. Like really cool. And shout outs to Jacob Fatu.
Oh, yes.
Man.
That guy. Woo!
I enjoy Jacob Fatu in the ring, man. It was you could put Jacob versus everybody. I don't care. I will watch. I acknowledge Jacob Fatu. I would just say that.
That man took a knee in the face and got back up.
Listen,
CM Punk turned around.
Yeah.
Yep. He came right back up, and it was just like,
get me out of here. Get me out this match. I want to be in the ring with him.
So, and for those who are listening, several comments about Jacob Fatu. He's not a normal human, and he is not his coming out party for sure. Here's the case where the monster coming in early made sense. He came in at the number 2 spot for his team, and it made total sense. He was brutal. He was destructive. He gave the new bloodline the advantage pretty much the entire way until we got to just about the end. He's a force. He was not afraid to use his body, to use the resources and assets available to him. He was going to be brutal. It was going to be ugly. And I still don't understand how a man 260, 270 pounds can leap up to the top rope and hit a perfect moonsault every time.
Every time.
I don't know how he does it. He doesn't sit there and wait to try to, figure it out. Is my guy behind me right? How much do I have to jump? It's just boom, boom, boom.
It's like Jacob, and he already getting ready to flip. Like, wait a minute.
It's amazing.
I didn't get an order.
It is
but you're right about that. And I think to Honey's point, like, there wasn't a lot of strategy when it came to the women's one, because why would Bayley go first? Like, especially with the story you've had, like, making uncomfortable in the cage. Who should have went out first could have been Raquel. And then that way, Liv goes out next, and you mess up the other team's thing, because now Rhea's going to want to come out. And then you jump Rhea and get her weak for the team. Like, it just felt like no strategy was really given during the women's match.
So I could see Bayley first. Bayley first isn't a problem.
Yeah.
It's just thinking of kind of the original War Games idea when you had the Horsemen and Dusty Rhodes and his crew. You kind of always put the first person in is the person who's got the most endurance and who can really go and be worth it at the 30-minute mark. So Bayley makes sense. I would have probably brought in Candice LeRae to start for Liv's team again, and then you would have had that story of Bayley and Candice, who already have already started talking about their story publicly. You'd have that, and then you can build everything and compound that on top of it. Nonetheless, it certainly seems like everyone really enjoyed the men's War Games match. Now, coming out of that, we mentioned, of course, a couple of injuries that have happened, several major injuries to Bronson Reed, whose ankle, there's a video out there. I would not play it, but they were actually able to show slow motion him landing, and that ankle ain't pretty. You take a 340-pound man from 20 feet in the air, gravity's going to do what it does, Now, to his credit, he landed nothing like one Adam Copeland did earlier this year, who landed feet first through a table. That's a whole nother story. But so we've got definitely some ankle issues for Bronson Reed, who will be out several weeks. We also heard on the post show that Jimmy Uso, who had his own pretty amazing dive, broke his toe on his landing. So that's going to be interesting to watch how things work out for them. But by far, an amazing men's War Games match. And I just want to put this out here because we didn't have a show Friday, and we honestly didn't even know about this. by airtime on Friday. But the big question that's all over the internet wrestling community, and I want to ask you guys, and I'll start with you, honey. What's the favor that the wise man now owes CM Punk?
Man, I have no idea where to begin. I have no idea what direction this is gonna go. That's another thing that also made it more intriguing for me, which is why I feel like CM Punk being inserted into the Bloodline story in this particular time for this particular reason. Just when this new bloodline is trying to come up and everything like that. You know, someone that he has history with, Roman. He actually has history with the whole group. And it was just a really interesting dynamic to have CM Punk as part of this, because he doesn't have to do this, but he did this for his friend Paul. And if you notice in the segment that happened in their exchange on Friday, he said it more than one time, and I can't help but wonder if there's any real meaning behind CM Punk saying this, but he said, "I'm here for Paul." 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't necessarily say to what capacity, but he did say he was here to help his friend because, you know, avenge his friend and what happened with everything and what Solo did to Paul Heyman earlier in the year. But what the favor could be, I mean, it would have to be at some point, you know, to be by his side for something. Or you know, like, I can't think of anything else that Paul Heyman would owe him than to, you know, be on his side for a match or a certain situation or stipulation that he's up against. You know, I'm not sure what CM Punk's business is with Paul Heyman. I mean, the fact that Paul Heyman didn't answer the tribal chief but just happened to show up at the right time with someone to help his tribal chief without discussing anything with his tribal chief, there's still a lot to be said there, and I can't help but wonder if we'll see it coming in the coming weeks before the end of the year.
So these photos of Roman Reigns and CM Punk garnered some ridiculous number in a 24-hour period, something to the tune of over 205 million views. It was probably more than that in 24 hours across WWE social channels, which is insane. And it does bear us asking the question, what's the favor? Courtney, what's the favor that Paul Heyman owes CM Punk at this point?
This is really interesting because I can't think of anything on the top of my head. Of course, CM Punk is there to help Paul, as Honey mentioned, because of what Solo and the Team New Bloodline did after WrestleMania. So there's a lot of figures. And if you go back to SmackDown, watching that whole face-to-face with Roman and CM Punk, he said it numerous times that I'm doing this for Paul. I'm doing this for Paul. Because, of course, you know he's a Paul Heyman guy. So this is going to be really interesting, and I can't even put my finger on what it is. So I'm curious on what's going to be the instant favor that CM Punk is going to mention.
All right. I'm almost scared to ask this, but I have to. Councilman?
He wants tickets to see Jersey Boys. That's the thing. He doesn't want to get them himself, so he wants to be able to be recognized and be seen there. So that's what the favor is. But no, what I thought about was, we was like, let's take a second and think about it. What is it at this point in CM Punk's career that he can't grasp that he would need Paul Heyman for?
I can only think of one thing.
Me too.
I can think of 2. One's crazy, and the other one makes perfect sense. But the rest of them, championship, no, you can literally go walk up to Gunther and he's going to give you a shot. Royal Rumble, you can get back at 30. There's none of those things that make me feel like CM Punk can't grab that. What I think is where CM Punk is now, where CM Punk is setting his time, he wants to finish up business he didn't get to complete. I think he's going to give him a match versus The Rock. And finally get his lick back. And And think about it. Final boss versus the only one that he says you can't punch and knock out God. That gotta come back now.
Interesting.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Oh wow.
Interesting. So I'll go ahead.
My cheeks hurt. I'm smiling so hard.
That's interesting.
Beautiful. Some
theories. Boza says maybe Roman and Punk going for the WWE tag titles. Dylan says Punk will ask Heyman for a world championship match. It'll upset Seth Rollins to the extreme because he made that a workhorse title. Not sure what that has to do with Roman though, but
and does he need Heyman for that? Not really.
Yeah, I believe it's a title shot against Gunther or Cody. Says I hope we get a musical like Jericho and MJF. Please no.
Oh my God! Please.
Thank you.
No, thank you. No.
Here's my thought, and I don't know how this happens. To me, the one thing that Punk has never had that he doesn't have much time left to get is the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody who can make that happen, it's Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
How Heyman goes about it, I don't know.
Oh my God.
What that means, I don't know. It could mean Punk and Roman in a main event in one of these nights of Mania. It could mean some champion, whoever's I don't know. But think about what kind of favor had. First of all, this can't be some small little, like, no offense to anybody. I think the world tag titles is too small. This is not a tag title kind of favor.
No.
This is a game-changing, use your influence, I was your boy longer kind of favor. Pull the string now.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be massive. It's got to be big. And think about how that already complicates the WrestleMania situation in Vegas, because we're already thinking about possibly Rock and Roman. We've thought about Rock and Cody. There's Gunther in there somewhere. There might be an Austin sighting somewhere. We don't know who's winning the Royal Rumble. But there's Punk and Seth somehow if they can get it together.
But look how it sets it up.
There could also be Punk and Dwayne and Roman.
But even so, but that's the big piece that's right there where you can see why it happens. Because what does The Rock want? The Rock wants to either face Roman and he wants to face Cody. Punk being able to take that away, like he took that opportunity away from him. Like, no, you don't get neither one of them. You gonna face me at night one in the main event of WrestleMania. You took my spot. I'm going to take yours.
Good Lord, this is gonna be crazy.
Oh my goodness!
Remember, that's what made him leave. That was
it was
the camel's back.
He left the next night.
Everything else he has had redemption for. That's the last thing he needs to. And the fact the Rock's the final boss right now, the heel, it's all right there.
We'll revisit this show if this happens, Councilman, because we've got to credit you on this one.
Is it crazy that I'm like secretly wanting it to happen now just to watch?
I love the idea.
Like the anticipation.
I mean, and they could almost roll it out again with a press conference in Vegas where nobody sees Punk coming.
Yep.
And it literally ends up being Heyman who pulls us off.
Yeah.
Oh, I got chills. That's amazing. All right. Well, we got to move out of Survivor Series because there's a lot happening. But one other thing I have to mention connected to Survivor Series. Oh, well, sorry. Let me back up. And that is this. Congratulations to Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes.
The brand new United States champion. I am so excited. This is just good. And in case you don't know, the Shinsuke train continues because January 1st, he's heading back to Pro Wrestling Noah in their, again, New Year event, taking on Uka Sasaki. And if you'll remember, it was in 2023 that he started the year there, going up against the Great Muta as Muta was wrapping up his career. So again, Shinsuke could very well take the United States Championship over to Pro Wrestling Noah, which would just be incredible. So I love everything about this. Congratulations to you, Shinsuke. All right, we're going to speed through a couple of things because I got a particular sticking point that I want to make sure we get some good time in on. So congratulations are also in order to our friends over at AEW. AEW made a massive announcement today announcing, we heard earlier that they were landing a deal in terms of rights and some things with Max. Well, on January 1st, that's going to be a huge, good Lord, January 1st, 2025 is starting off very big. You got this Shinsuke Nakamura in Pro Wrestling Noah. On the same day, AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen will be the first event that will be simulcast. It'll be on TBS and on Max. It'll stream on Max for the first time. And I got to give it to AEW. If there's ever going to be an event that's your first event to stream on Max, this episode of Dynamite, Fight for the Fallen, coming out of Asheville, North Carolina, a city that was deeply hit with that hurricane, brutalized, of course, the home for FTR, the home for Adam Copeland. Huge move. Courtney, your thoughts on this move happening for AEW January 1st?
This is really a groundbreaking moment for AEW, and just seeing, because the anticipation, especially with the announcement, was waiting, but finally getting streamed on Max. Also, I have to give props to Tony Khan for doing it in North Carolina, because I remember sitting in a media call for Wrestle Dream, and he was talking about what happened with the hurricanes, and he wanted to do something, really take action for it. So this is really nice for him to come to North Carolina. And of course, I'm hoping that FTR will make an appearance because it's in North Carolina. Maybe Adam Copeland will pop in a little bit. But this is definitely a great way to start off in 2025, and really happy to see it. And also for people like me who have Max, this is also a good, really great opportunity, and also just continue that relationship with Max.
So Max is not necessarily known for doing lots of streaming of live events. How do you think this will go on Max? What are your thoughts on this, Councilman?
Well, luckily, nothing else is going to be streaming because all the stuff is off right now. So I'm sure all of their servers will be able to handle this very well. Okay.
I am so
House of the Dragon don't come back for another couple years.
Hilarious.
Don't remind
It's
me.
done. It's gonna be fit. Like, besides watching older movies, Max got plenty of space for this, and I think as well. I think it just shows to AEW's thing that they are listening, and that you could see the progression in the product. And I think same thing like how you said, Professor, just let's see what happens. And it does seem like it is starting to pivot into a better stratosphere. And I think this starting off in 2025 is a great way.
Now, honey, let me ask you this, and I'm not being whatever, but do you find this interesting at all that they announce January 1st that they will be streaming Dynamite on Max, knowing that a mere 5 days later, Monday Night Raw will debut on Netflix? Coincidence or nah?
I think it's a little bit of a coinky dink. Yeah. I feel like they're testing the waters, and they're just seeing how they can follow suit, maybe not exactly WWE's footsteps, but in the realm of streaming, that's where things are at right now. And a lot of people are actually like getting rid of cable in order to keep all the streams, and they just feel like it makes so much more sense, and it does. Like you have the YouTube TV, you have the NFL, you like no more NFL Network on TV, so you have to get the package for that. But streaming is where it's at. So I think that I do think that it's kind of a coincidence that it's around the same time, but I think they're trying to get their hands on the possibility of being able to see how their numbers do after they do their first stream on Max. But Netflix and Raw, like, are you kidding? Like, come on, AEW. I don't know, but that's gonna be a fun week. It's gonna be a fun January.
Let
for
me tell
wrestling
you,
fans, I tell you that.
January, that first week of January, I'm not sure that everyone has put the calendar together. So let me just try to help you a little bit. New Year's Day, Pro Wrestling Noah, AEW streams on Max. All right. That's Wednesday, January the 1st. Of course, Thursday is TNA. Friday will be the first SmackDown of 2025.
Yep.
Okay. Consider that. Then the next day, Saturday, is Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday is Wrestle Dynasty.
Oh my Jesus.
Monday is Raw on Netflix and New Year's Dash over in New Japan. Tuesday is NXT.
My God.
And then we're back to Wednesday. So we're literally getting major wrestling every day of the week starting 2025.
That's a
I'm
beautiful
tired.
thing.
So just get ready.
I'm already tired too.
Just get ready.
It made me
This is
sleepy.
what
What
we
you just
want.
saying that. That made me sleepy. I'm like, "Ooh,
Ooh.
Oh, if you thought that
Ooh,
was gonna make you
child.
sleepy, wait till we go to 3 hours.
Oh
Wait
my
till we go back to
God.
3
why y'all bring
hours.
that up? Why y'all
3
bring that up?
hours.
Well,
I believe it when I see it.
I
It'll
believe
be like,
that
it'll be
part.
like, it'll be
That
like
part.
these 2 hours never happened.
I will believe it when I see it. Now then,
Same.
more
same.
AEW news. Congratulations to the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Lee Moriarty, who we know is always doing great things, but he, outside of the ring, is a painter and an artist, and he is actually doing some great work, and his work is going to be featured in a Miami art museum, which is pretty awesome. And take a look at some of these paintings. I mean,
Oh,
he's
love
got
that.
skills. So it's wrestling related. You see Jushin
Yes.
Thunder Liger, a
Thunder
representation of
Liger.
him in the middle. I believe on the right-hand side looks like El Santo. And so this is really cool. And again, I love seeing that these wrestlers are getting to showcase their other talents. I think that is an absolutely amazing thing. Yes, sir.
You say you're doing it in Miami?
Yes.
Like, what, this week?
What are the dates on that? I'm going to tell you the dates on that. It is it's the Miami Art Week. It is his debut there, and it's actually happening this week, December the 2nd through the 8th.
Oh, so he's a part of Art Basel. That's big.
Yeah.
That is big.
In Miami,
really
especially.
Huge.
So
Shout out
congratulations to him. That's really awesome to see that happening. Congratulations to Lee. So that's pretty cool. All right. Continental Classic kicked off this past Wednesday, and quite a few things are going on. Shelton Benjamin picked up his first win and his first 3 points, as did Claudio Castagnoli. To me, well, before I get to the shocker, there is Will Ospreay, who picked up his first 3 points. But to me, the shocker of all of it is how Collision ended. It's Kazuchika Okada, the Continental Champion, against the TNT Champion, Daniel Garcia. It ended in a 20-minute draw. So they both only got 1 point, which is actually quite shocking to me, given how great of a tournament wrestler Kazuchika Okada is, that he couldn't beat Daniel Garcia in 20 minutes. Now, what's also interesting to me is Kazuchika Okada is used to wrestling long matches. Like, that's, really where he gets his thing. So it now makes me wonder if this 20-minute rule in the Continental Classic will actually work against him as opposed to for him. So quickly, I'd love to get your thoughts. And I guess we'll start with you, Courtney. How do you think? Well, here's the question. I initially had Okada pegged as winning the gold bracket, and it'd be him and Ospreay. That's kind of what my initial thought is. But after watching this, do you think Okada actually wins the Continental Classic?
This is going to be a little bit interesting, and I am going to talk a lot about this on Wednesday because I did watch Collision. I was very surprised because I really thought Okada was going to get the win over Daniel Garcia. I thought at least he would get the 3 points and be like, oh, okay, he's going to win, but then just go through that. It's really going to be interesting how this is going to pan out. And also, when is his next match going to be? I still believe he'll probably be in the finals. I know that 1 point is going to kill him, but I do believe, and plus it's still early in the tournament. I don't think this is not going to hurt him, but the 20-minute time limit does seem a little bit of a stretch because I kind of wish it was a little bit longer, especially with the back and forth that they had, Daniel Garcia and Okada to the wire. This is going to be really intriguing with this tournament. And also some of the matches that were already announced this week for Wednesday. And also, not just Wednesday, but also in the coming weeks as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how, with Okada, this is going to play, because I believe he's going to be at the final.
This will be something to watch, considering that you only have 5 matches in the tournament. Either losing or having a draw can really be detrimental to you. So we will see. We'll talk more about Continental Classic, obviously, on Wednesday, since that is our day of all things elite. Now then, let's get to Elimination Chamber, where the tickets for this are going on sale on Friday of this week. We've seen this poster, which they are going to, by all means, promote almost every event that John Cena is at as his last time ever. So you will definitely want to get there for this. But they also dropped a new poster, and it looks like this. And I think this is interesting. Looking at some of the faces on there, it may mean something, it may mean nothing. But for those who are listening, the faces on this poster include CM Punk, Bianca Belair, Jey Uso, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley, along with John Cena. Are they foreshadowing here, or is this just main faces to get you excited about this show, Councilman?
You know, we could just say this is a nice poster, but the conspiracy theorist in me is not going to allow that. And I'm definitely going to make a bread trail that probably doesn't exist, but I can for sure create one from here. Notice the chains and how they meet into different people. Notice how CM Punk's goes to John Cena. Notice how the smaller chains are connected with the women. So what lets me know is we're going to get a John Cena CM Punk. Maybe not a match, but an interaction. I think we're going to get a triple threat match with Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Liv for the title. And I think we're going to have Jey Uso win the Elimination Chamber. I don't know what it's going to be for. Maybe for the World Heavyweight title, depending on who wins the Rumble. But I think Jey is going to win this year's Men's Rumble. Elimination Chamber.
Honey, your face is telling quite the story. What do you gain from this poster, if anything?
What I definitely do gain from this poster, besides obviously the obvious that you can see, but he says you can't. These are all the current needle movers right now on the roster. That's what I see. You see, as Nick Aldis pointed out earlier, his MVP for 2024 is Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan's been part of the hottest storyline, with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. And of course, Mommy's got to be there. You have the EST of WWE because she is exactly what she says she is. CM Punk as well, and then of course main event Jey Uso. So I think this is just more so an excitement poster. And then just, of course, adding John Cena to the mix, it's just gonna get you even more excited. But it's kind of like almost sad because it's like I almost kind of don't want this to happen. I don't know if I'm mentally prepared to see the end of Cena, and this is gonna be the last year that we see of Cena. It's pretty crazy. Never thought I'd say those words.
I think it's not gonna hit me until we get to December.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna
Yeah.
wear this whole last time ever thing out all year until it's the last time ever. And that's when it's gonna get emotional, I think.
Oh yeah.
And I definitely think that there's no real foreshadowing here other than you'll likely see these people at the event and we want you to get your tickets. But I think there's a lot of room between now and then, and who knows what will be happening by that point. I will say another reason why you want these people on this poster is because you're trying to fill the venue formerly known as the Toronto Sky Dome, which was the home for WrestleMania 6 and 18. So we're talking a stadium show. You're going to put, your most recognizable faces on there to help move those tickets. I do think it's interesting that we don't see the faces of Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes on here. That may mean something. It may not. Who knows? Dylan says no Jade. She's injured. So that's why we're not seeing her right now. That one's not as deep as we think. She's out on injury. Let's not promote her being there because I think that doesn't do good for whatever her injury would be. But those tickets do go on sale this Friday. So
Yes, she's injured.
I think Dylan,
where you been?
Dylan's being funny right now. He's being funny right now.
Yeah,
I'm glad he did
funny.
that.
Yeah, he's trying to be funny. He has an inside.
I'm glad he did that because I felt so bad that I missed the other joke that we didn't do, which was just like, wait, John Cena's on this poster? Where?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
right.
I was like, we totally missed that.
Right,
Totally
right. So one other thing that happened over the weekend, TNA had a pay-per-view called Turning Point, and I have to shout them out because they did this at one of the biggest independent wrestling festivals of the year. It's called WrestleCade, and it's an amazing convention that happens in North Carolina, and TNA doing a live pay-per-view there. Turning Point was a big deal. Now, what ended up happening is Trey Miguel was unable to appear in a major six-man tag, and who would end up appearing for him but Matt Riddle. Congratulations to Matt Riddle for doing that, being a part of that. I don't know how many more times we'll see him inside of a TNA ring, but that was a very welcome surprise. No championships changed hands, but I love the fact that TNA during their pay-per-view made special time to give you an opportunity to support Chris Bay. I absolutely love that. And their ongoing commitment to seeing Chris Bay improve is fantastic. So congratulations to them. We are right about where I want to be for what's next. So just put your seatbelts on because I think this has potential to be fun. Today marks 3,653 days. I know you were wondering where that title came from. Because that, my friends, is 10 years of the New Day. 3,653 days. And to commemorate that, today, Big E penned an article that was published in the Players Tribune. The article was titled Sour. And it may have been one of the single greatest wrestling articles I've ever seen. So before I talk about it, I'd love to see who has had an opportunity, or should I say who has had an opportunity to read this article. And if you have, what are your thoughts? So firstly, did anybody read the article?
Have not.
You have not. Councilman, you have not.
I was at a family barbecue.
Yes. On a Monday. Yes.
On Monday. Yeah.
Yes. Courtney.
I read like half of it on the beginning, on the early parts of Big E.
Okay.
And that's where I stopped.
All right. So I'll give you all cliff notes. Let me just say this. It is a very necessary read. You are going to learn more about Big E in this article than you've probably learned about him his entire career. He talks about what he said to himself as a 9-year-old boy on his birthday in the mirror. He talks about not liking himself. He talks about his childhood and the conflict that he went through, his strong battles with mental health. I don't think you would imagine that someone whose heartbeat seems to be all about positivity could have been in the dark spaces that he talked about in this article. The article will move you to tears. I'm telling you now, it will move you to tears to see how he thought something as important as getting a full scholarship to Iowa for football would get him out of his elements of depression, but it did not. He talked about the injuries that he suffered there. I'll even just tell you this. He talked about willfully being admitted to the psych ward at the University of Iowa. This is one of the most incredible stories you need to read. And then he talked about how the New Day literally saved his life. Wow. You have to read this article. It is must read material. I don't tell you guys or ask you guys to read a whole lot, but trust me, this is something you need to read, and you might want to read it before Raw goes on the air tonight.
Oh boy.
You might want to read it before Raw goes on the air tonight. Now, on the socials, there's been an incredible outpouring of love for Big E, for the New Day, for all that they've accomplished. I'm wearing my New Day gear for anybody who cares. And so it led me to ask this question. I know some people who I would love to have on here, but they didn't show. So it's going to fall on you three, which I think is the perfect number for this. With absolutely no warning, no preparation whatsoever, as we go into the 10-year anniversary of the New Day tonight, my question to you is who is the greatest member of the New Day?
That's what we doing?
That is what we are doing.
Well,
I told y'all.
Oh, give me the milk. Give me the milk.
Give me the milk.
Give me the damn milk.
Can't be worth it.
Give me the milk. Let's do this.
And this is open for you in the chat as well. Who is the greatest member of the New Day?
Y'all not gonna make me.
Oh, would you look at? Oh wait. Oh, unfortunately.
I'm not.
Now there's a lot as you are trying to determine your answer. There's a lot to consider here.
I'm not doing this.
A lot. You're dealing with the fact that the idea started with Xavier Woods.
I'm not doing.
You're dealing with the fact that this faction has produced 11 or 12 tag team championships. You're dealing with 2 world champions, a king of the ring. The fact that this faction has stayed together with its original members longer than any other faction in the history of this sport. I know some people will scream, oh, well, there's the Bullet Club, not with their original members. The New Day didn't do it for, the NWO didn't do it for 10 years. DX didn't do it for 10 years. The Four Horsemen didn't do it for 10 years. You cannot find the Shield didn't do it for 10 years. You cannot find a single faction who stayed together for this length of time with its original members. But who among them is the greatest?
I can't believe you're making us do this.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
This is
yes.
an awful way to start our week.
All right,
it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Kevin Owens is the greatest New Day member.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens.
We're not getting out of this one.
All right.
Big E.
All right.
Big E, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston. Now, as you're deciding, there are many things you could look at. You could look at championship reigns. You could look at matches. You could look at impact. I mean, I think about how Xavier Woods was the one who really helped bring the personality out of a Big E and a Kofi Kingston. He helped take the New Day to expand beyond merely the wrestling ring. What they did with merch, what they did with Up, Up, Down, Down in the video game community. I mean, we're talking a lot of the connections that they've had with so many of the video game franchises. We're talking about a lot of things. Stay focused, Chris. We're not there yet. We're talking about the greatest member of the New Day. We're not talking about whether it ends tonight. That's not what we're talking about. Who is the greatest member of the New Day? That is the question, and be prepared to defend your answer.
I think I got mine.
All right. The councilman will begin.
Big E is the greatest New Day member out of all of them.
Okay.
Big E is the heart. Big E was the person, if you really think about it, who became the face of the New Day. He was the one that was always on the mic. Now, again, we can say it was Xavier. Xavier Woods, I would compare to, is the Steve Wozniak of this group. For those that don't know who Steve Wozniak is, Steve Wozniak is the guy who actually built the Mac computer, like made the computer itself. As to Steve Jobs was the face of the person that sold the dream. That's what I credit Xavier for. He is the architect to this. But the one that came out of this, the one that became the best creation through this group, has to be Big E. From the championships he's won, from the moments that he's had, from the endorsements that have been given, we still to this day love this man and how much he's been able to achieve because of this group. And don't get me wrong, Kofi Mania is a big thing, but it was because of Kofi that we wanted it. And because we've known Kofi for so long that we wanted that to happen. Big E winning it, and this is, I'm gonna say this part for me personally. Big E winning the championship was like, that was to me like the New Day member that became WWE champion. I know it doesn't make sense as I say it, but if you get what I'm saying, this was the guy who really took the ball, excelled, and ran with it through this group. This is the one who benefited the most from it. Remember what Big E started as. And where he is now. He has had his WrestleMania moments, Intercontinental Champion, took on Apollo in Tampa. He has had a whole bunch of moments. I don't know if that would have happened had he not joined the New Day. The guy that's benefited the most from it, the guy that's the face for it, and pretty much the heart, and I feel the spirit of the New Day, which is why I think Big E is the greatest New Day member.
All right. Courtney?
I had to really think about this because a lot of it's not just in ring work, but who had the most charismatic, who was good on the mic out of all three of the members of the New Day. I remember when Kofi first came into WWE and when he was already getting championships. But if I had to pick which member of the New Day that benefited the most,
now remember, it's the greatest member of the New Day. However benefited the most may not be the greatest, but it's completely up to you how you assess that.
But I will say, out of the greatest member of the New Day, I have to go with Xavier Woods on this one. And the reason I say that is, and I really had to think about this because I remember when they first started, it was just a little bit confusing. Like, why are they starting? I don't know. But him just being the brains of it and really kind of anchoring that ship and also being the one encouraging. Now, of course, he hasn't won any championship gold singles titles, but he did win King of the Ring. And also, similar to what Councilman said with Big E, Xavier was able to get some endorsements as well. And also, he recently did a partnership with Dragon Ball Z. recently because that's one of his favorite anime shows that he mentioned in an interview. So for him, just really kind of being the backbone. And of course, we can't forget his lovely trombone Francesca. Because honestly, I'm going to say this. I enjoy a guy that knows how to play the trombone.
Clip it.
Yes.
I'm dead. Dead.
Clip it fast.
Yes. So, trust me, for a guy who play like that, that is something that is super, super talented. So I'm going with Xavier.
Man.
So very quickly, to give you a few more seconds, honey, what is it about a man that plays a trombone that you like so much, Courtney?
What are you insinuating here, Professor?
I'm just asking. That's a fair question. I have never heard someone say a man. I love a man that plays a trombone. I've heard it said about playing piano. I've heard it played saxophone. I've heard a man who sings. I've heard guitar. I've never heard a man who plays trombone. So please enlighten us.
I actually do, because it's like one of those instruments you never even think of, and it's kind of like way off the list. Like as you mentioned, like piano, voice, guitar, but just seeing Xavier Woods play it so well, it's like, oh, it gives me an interest on the trombone. It gives me that interest.
Got you interested in the trombone, huh?
Yes.
Courtney, pay them no mind.
What?
As a musician, I am
interested in.
Listen, the trombone is not one of those instruments that most people go, that's what I want to play. Right. People wanted to play saxophone because it's so cool. You know, piano is cool, like all these things. And so with that said, I think we've got we have brought about another elected official, and just at the right time. The mayor's here. Mayor, how are you?
Happy 10-year anniversary to all that acknowledge the new day. This is an amazing question. I could not allow myself to wait any longer to answer this question. It's been an amazing 10 years, but when you talk about like the greatest of the new day and all the impact they've had, and I put my pick in the chat, but like my pick is Woods, because if anything, what he's done to impact the entire locker room will last for generations. When you look at like old conversations, and these conversations still come up on podcasts, you get people like Undertaker talking about how the locker room used to be. It seems like everybody backstage is legitimate friends now. Like they can talk to each other, they get along. And that's over just something as simple as video games. People that don't play video games, people that don't do things. Everything that I've seen the New Day do over these past 10 years are just like from the love child of Woods' creativity, enjoyment, video games, anime culture, the gear are things that he loves to do. A lot of those things have come from his brain. And like singles titles aside, him getting his first gold, things like, do we remember what Woods was doing pre-New Day? They had my man out here gyrating for R-Truth. Y'all remember that angle?
Yes.
When he first came about, he was like R-Truth's hype man, and he was just a sidekick that was doing little matches here and there for R-Truth. So he's had the most transition through the New Day, because I think Big E was already ordained to be good. Kofi was already winning championships, but they got together, and I think Woods has had the most character development of them all when you really think about it. Big E was one of the first. Was it Seth that was the first NXT champion, or was it E?
Yeah, it's Seth, and then Big E was the second one.
Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, we always knew that Big E was destined for greatness, but like Professor said earlier, that personality was able to show because of his relationship with Woods. We never got to see heel Kofi Kingston until Woods was introduced as well. So I think when you talk about just New Day success, without him, none of this happens.
Man, y'all, I feel a type of way.
But the in-ring work, though.
I feel a type of way. Why are we not putting respect on Kofi Kingston's name here? Veteran since 2006, was briefly in ECW, 4-time Intercontinental Champion, 3-time US, okay, 1-time World Tag Champion with who? CM Punk. like I don't understand where all this is come from. I understand
Yeah,
Biggie. This is a
Kofi's a
tough
tag
debate.
team hopping hoochie. He
But
got tag team titles with everybody.
Well, I'll be honest, man.
Evan Bourne,
Hopping
CM
Hoochie,
Punk.
he's a vet. He's a
Because of what
veteran.
you said though, Honey
But
may be right, because how I described him is the ring. You described him with the personality. Kofi has both.
Everything.
Yeah.
He's
He
the
has
fusion of
everything.
the two.
He has it all. He's
Ooh.
the first and currently still only African-born world champion in WWE history, period. Triple Crown champion, Grand Slam champion, NXT Tag Team Championship. Like, how are we forgetting this? Tag Team Triple Crown champion. Why are we forgetting about all this about Kofi Kingston here? Kofi
So we're
Mania.
talking about accolades, but can somebody describe me what Kofi's personality was before Woods and before Up, Down, Down, before that actually
he was
showed?
still a
He was
favorite.
pretending
He
to be
was still a
Jamaican.
favorite.
Yeah,
He
it
was
was
still
there.
a
He was
favorite.
pretending to be Jamaican.
Like getting all the bootio throw-ins and the heel stuff before Woods. Like
But
his
still-
up, down, down personality is second to none. But would that be there without Woods? Or would he still be cosplaying a Jamaican?
No, he stopped that before that even happened. Remember
Kofi
that.
was
'cause
always
Triple H called him.
charismatic, though. Kofi was always charismatic, and he was always a fan favorite. He was always a fan favorite for sure. There's no way. I'm sorry.
So all of these moments happened in the boom boom gimmick. You still get all these moments with
hold
as
on.
it stands.
But Mayor, to that point, one could argue
without one, you wouldn't get
that
the other.
Kofi made the space for Xavier to be comfortable to do what he did. Because he may not have thought he could do all of that if it was just him. With having a veteran like Kofi, he could tell you what not to do so you don't end up in a Randy situation like he did, which Xavier never did.
But it's literally on their podcast. They tell the story of how they went down the list of names, everything they had as gimmicks. Woods was the brain trust behind all those ideas to bring them to fruition. Kofi was fine without them, but he was able to elevate himself more as a result of all of this.
Yeah, but to go from someone that you never thought would be WWE champion and he got it, that's a huge thing. Because none of us sat, just from what you're saying, none of us sat here and was just like, oh yeah, Kofi Kingston's definitely gonna be the WWE champion one day. None of us thought that. He made us believe that.
And that's because of the New Day and Ian Wood saying like, hey, you've been here 11 years. You deserve this.
This is a hard question because
it is.
I said what I said.
Because one has one strength, another one has, I call it opportunity, not a weakness. And then another one has that strength that other one has a weakness to. This one is difficult.
I said what I said. I don't find it difficult at
I
all.
might have to. No, I'm gonna stick over. I'm gonna stick. But honey, you made great points with Kofi.
Yes, she did. She did.
Very interesting. Let's see what the
wait a minute. Whoa. Professor, you're not finna escape this. You're not finna escape this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hold on.
Wow, who are you gonna pick?
I know how you said this. You do you, then you go to the comments.
Right.
No. I do want to see what they have to say if I can get to it. And I don't know that let's see. It is yeah, I can't quite get to what I want to with them. So I'll have to come back to that. In terms of my thoughts, this is a really, what makes this question so challenging is this isn't quite like a who belongs on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling kind of thing, because for it, you could look at, if you wanted to look at it just at stats or accomplishments or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think what made the New Day so interesting, and again, this is where I think reading the Big E article is interesting, because he talks about how basically the three of them were floundering at that given point. At the point where the New Day came together, they were floundering. And Big E's success on the main roster at that point was nothing like his success in NXT. So, just remembering that, again, in the early days of the NXT transition onto the main roster, it was not a smooth transition. Big E came in Of course, he had the high profile spot with Dolph Ziggler and that situation. But then outside of that, there really wasn't much for Big E. So, we knew nothing of his personality. We did not hear any conversation from him. And at that time, even watching NXT wasn't as widely available. So most people didn't even know he was the second NXT champion. So they didn't have anything to connect him to. So he came in kind of new. I think, certainly the brainchild, I don't think anyone will argue in terms of the brainchild being Xavier, but, much like what the councilman said, building things and being the face of that thing aren't necessarily the same people.
No.
Most people don't know Steve Wozniak. They do know of Steve Jobs, even though Jobs has been off the scene for quite some time. I would make the argument, I think if we're talking strictly, here's how we divide it. If we're talking strictly outside of the ring, meaning locker room, connection to mainstream in terms of video games, even crossing the forbidden door. Think about it. If not for the New Day, we don't ever have the Elite on WWE's website. WWE streamed a video game conference seeing the New Day versus the Elite on WWE.com. We never thought that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
That happens because of Woods. If you're talking about a veteran presence that helps to steer the ship and helps this team to be taken seriously, it's because of Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston, follow me on this. Kofi Kingston is to the New Day what Chris Jericho is to 2019 AEW. Kofi Kingston legitimizes the New Day. Without Kofi Kingston, nobody cares about the New Day. And you need them to care in the early run so they could have the later run. Nobody was really checking for Woods or Big E, but Kofi was the recognizable figure who had the history. He had, the title runs. He was already a fan favorite. He was the one that was connecting with people. He was the one that was the glue that made you pay attention to the New Day.
Dang, he's like the Carlos Miller of it. Like with the 85 South show, he's Carlos Miller.
Yeah. If you're talking about the muscle and the power, and I'll go so far as to say the personality of the New Day,
yes,
that's Big E.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Big E is the one who emerged from all of this. Think about this. He went from the bodyguard who didn't talk and was a monster and became the hip swiveling, don't you dare be sour, who was funny and could still be taken seriously. The skill set that it takes for that, you're either one or the other. The Big Show had the hardest time with this. Think about it. When the Big Show was, think about it. When the Big Show was funny, he couldn't be a monster.
Right.
And when the Big Show was a monster, he couldn't be funny.
Right.
He was either doing impersonations of people or he was choke slamming people through a ring. He couldn't do both.
And he always had to come back.
Right. Big E did both. Big E did both. And so that's what makes this, I think they are three equal parts to this organism. And Big E even talks about this in the article where he says, so many people talked about them breaking up. And he recognized if we break up, we're going to fall through the cracks individually. We are better together. So I think it just depends on the perspective you're looking at it from. Big E is by far the personality. I think the brains of it, the brainchild, the engine was Woods. Legitimacy is Kofi Kingston. Here's the thing. The edge to me goes to Kofi Kingston for this very reason. Given all of those things being equal, Kofi had the WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
And it's like in the world of football. You cannot deny a Super Bowl champion.
He got a ring.
He can't. He's got a ring. You know, you may want to compare LeBron to whomever. LeBron's got the rings, right?
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston, and so yes, it was a cool WrestleMania moment when the New Day came out of the box, the cereal box.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool WrestleMania moment when they hosted and announced the Hardys. But when you're talking about
Kofi Mania.
Yeah, Kofi Mania.
Nothing's gonna
grown
Kofi
men
Mania. Yep.
cried.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Kofi Mania.
MVP and God rest his soul, man. That video of the both of them seeing him win, and then you can see him like, our boy did it.
Yeah,
our boy did it.
Kofi galvanized a community. Just think about that. So for whatever Kofi did prior to WrestleMania or prior to the New Day, in the New Day, 5 years in the New Day, he galvanized the wrestling community. Think about that.
Yeah.
Galvanized a marginalized community. And think about this. Think about how the African American presence in pro wrestling changed after Kofi Mania. That was 2019.
Wow. Hey, yeah, you right.
Think about that. Think about that.
The last one was what? The Rock.
The Rock.
That was it.
2019.
Opened that door.
Kofi opened a door, not just to Black WWE champions, but watch this, to Black independent wrestling. He opened the door to Black podcasters. They don't want to have this conversation. The bulk of the Black podcasters you see right now isn't happening if the door to Kofi Mania doesn't open it.
Or that New Day podcast for wrestling podcast.
That doesn't.
Corey Graves would not be hitting like this if New Day hadn't did that podcast first.
Because think about what Kofi Mania did. What Kofi Mania did was it brought Black wrestling fans together at the highest peak, WrestleMania. And he beat the last big guy that we galvanized behind, being Daniel Bryan.
Miracle on Bourbon.
Yes.
Top that.
So
they top the Miracle on Bourbon.
So to me, given all the entertainment factor, the brains, all of those things, WrestleMania, Kofi Mania, and think about this. That was the same Kofi Mania, or that was the same WrestleMania where we had the first women's main event.
Yeah.
And people still talk more about Kofi Mania than the first women's WrestleMania main event. To me, the answer is Kofi Kingston.
I was just happy to be there for both. That was
which is incredible.
Yeah.
Grown men. I will say this publicly. I cried when Kofi Kingston won the world title. I literally had to go in the bathroom to get myself together.
Yeah, that was a pivotal moment. That was a really
It was a pivotal
awesome
moment.
Because that was finally them, to special little nobody's point here as to what New Day did for each member. New Day gave Woods a chance to shine, made Biggie a main event star, and gave Kofi his well-deserved flowers. That was basically their way of saying literally thank you, Kofi, because the chance is happening every week.
And to that point, I think that was one of the main things Kofi didn't have as a main event star.
Yes,
correct.
Was the stable.
Right.
Everyone you know, think of every champion you've had, all of them have had a stable. Kofi was the only one that never had one, and then finally got one with the New Day. So it's like, yo, you've now checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
It's time for us to give you a championship. It's time for you to have a run.
And then not to mention for him to receive the warm welcome that he did from the entire roster at come on now. That doesn't scream veteran. I don't know what does.
The road to Kofi Mania. Think about how the Usos during that gauntlet match on SmackDown walked away laid down, and they were like, we're giving you this. We're not making you go through this, Kofi. We're not. Think about, to me, the other enduring picture, which is when Kofi wins the championship, the New Day all comes in and surrounds him.
Mm-hmm.
In an industry where in the territory days, you could only have one black wrestler per territory, we saw 3 black men come together on the biggest stage pro wrestling had to offer to celebrate.
With his kids too. Let's
kids
also break that little stereotype right there too. Kids was there, wife was
kids
there.
and the wife, right?
Yep.
So we broke a lot of stereotypes in that one moment, which still hits us hard 5 years later.
And even the after moment of him winning that, and someone like Randy Orton allowing him, like, yo, I know what I did to you back then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's reverse this so this strengthens up this championship, because they brought that back during that feud, and it was like, yo, no,
to make it better for Kofi.
To be able to go like, yo, no, I see you too, just like everybody else does, and I'm behind this as well. That does say a lot. Unlike a Beast Incarnate that we know that don't be. I'm gonna stop.
Blame my tears on a bong hit.
Right.
That's great.
Don't
Special nobodies.
So that was great. How many for Woods? That was 2 for Woods.
So it was
2
for Woods, 1 for Biggie, and 2 for Kofi. So I'm intrigued to see where else this discussion can go, but I figured I would throw that on you. If I tell you it's gonna be a good one, it's gonna be a good one.
Well, we also forgetting about the full goat of it. Like, that's good, but the Michael Jackson of the New Day. Every day is a new day with this person.
Every day
is a new day.
So tonight, of course, on Monday Night Raw, the official 10-year anniversary celebration. I don't know how the New Day breaks up after that article today from Big E and all of the love that's been poured out. It's going to be something. I may cry again tonight, thanks to the New Day, based on whatever happens. We'll also have CM Punk, who will kick off the show. No telling what will he tell us the favor tonight? Who knows what will happen with CM Punk? It'll be must-see TV. We've got a tag team match. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez going against Damage Control. And I think that's going to be really a great match. And then we see the start of the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament. A triple threat match. Dakota Kai.
I know.
Katana.
Don't you start, said. Don't you start.
And Shayna Baszler. That's all going down tonight. So it's a can't miss episode of Monday Night Raw.
Who should win this match?
You've got a chance still to check out that article from Big E, which is going to pull at your heartstrings for sure. It's a significant read, so you're going to need some time for it. It's a pretty lengthy read, but it is a powerful read. So that's what's happening on Monday Night Raw tonight. You don't want to miss this. And I'm telling you, I'm intrigued. Any of these women here could certainly win this match tonight. I'm intrigued to see what the rest of the bracket's going to look like. And I'm just going to put this out there since we haven't talked about it, but I just want to make sure it's said. I believe we will see the Women's Intercontinental Champion crowned on the first episode of Raw on Netflix.
Ooh, that's
TK.
Too.
TK, man.
The timeline is right. The timeline sounds right.
Yeah, sounds right.
Get them tickets, TK. Let me get them tickets.
Yeah, you might need to remind her. She can be forgetful at times. All right, here's how you could reach out to all of us. Courtney.
They can always find me here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wednesday, I do my watch along for AEW Dynamite. You do not want to miss this Wednesday because they're going to continue with the Continental Classic. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram on @CourtneyNJ11. You can also follow Bell to Bell if you are in the East Coast, most specifically New Jersey. I will be posting a lot of stuff that happened over the weekend, so I'm excited to do a lot of stuff with them heading into 2025.
Nice.
Awesome sauce. Mayor.
You can find me in about 25 minutes for the Raw watch along. Bring your bootios, bring your New Day pops, all your favorite merch. We will be celebrating the New Day. Also, it's Cyber Monday. My OnlyFans is on sale. If you need a link for that, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I beg your pardon, sir.
Wow.
I'm joking. This is a family show. We just push TK's body butter around here. That's all. But you can find me on these Twitter streets at says at CEDD_SAYS, and on the gram at cedistheanswer, wrestling content on cedricwelton.com. But yeah, we celebrating the New Day tonight. And also, depending on what we see tonight, this might be your last Monday Night Mare of 2024, because don't piss me off, Triple H. That's all I say. Don't piss me off.
There's a lot on the line tonight.
There's a lot
that stream will end abruptly. Like I in the show, you'll hear the little lady talking. I'll just press the button.
Wow. All right. Councilman, there's a lot that just happened. There's so much that just happened. Oh my God. Councilman. Oof, wow.
You can find me on my socials at Tsunami State Alumni, as we like to do it. We're also starting a Kickstarter for Bronson Reed. We're going to get him some bionic ankles, so we don't have to worry about this anymore. And as always, Sami Zayn should have took that tsunami. I don't know how he got over there, but the fact he didn't take it, that's why the ankle is messed up. And this is Sammy's fault. I just wanted that to be known. This is Mick Foley Jr.'s fault because you weren't there.
Special Nobody says they already know if I don't have tickets under my tree to Saturday night's main event, that was the last smoked turkey my siblings get from me for Thanksgiving. Well, hey,
you better hold that smoked turkey hostage.
Listen, hold it hostage. I know that's right. Honey.
You guys can find me Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays here with the WWT Live crew. You can also find me on my watch along every Friday. There wasn't one this past Friday. Girl had to take off because, Thanksgiving, working double duty and hosting can be pretty tedious, but it was nonetheless a success. Tonight, most likely will find me at the Firefly Funhouse because that's where I like to hang out on Mondays. And all things Wrestling with Honey on the socials, as well as the Wrestling with Honey podcast on YouTube.
All right, you can find me at bonnerfide across all of the social spaces. Just dropped a new video today previewing some of the fun happenings at Ashe Wrestling this weekend. In case you did not know, it's happening this Saturday night as we crown our first ever Ashe Wrestling men's champion, a one-night, 8-man tournament. Should be incredible. Plus a women's triple threat match, Jada Stone, Jordan Blade, Karen Bam Bam Renee. It's going to be some good stuff. If you cannot get to Charlotte, North Carolina, you can watch live at AsheWrestling.com. So head over there and pick up your removed myself. That's hilarious. I didn't mean to do that. This is what I meant to do. Also, a lot's happening this week. It is my 5-year wrestling anniversary this Friday. So I'm actually really excited. 2 big shows over the weekend. I've got Southern Honor Friday night and then Ashe Saturday. So it's going to be a big, big weekend. I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, all things women's wrestling talk, WW Talk Pod is where you can find us on the social spaces. Great content there. www.talkpod.com is the website. I hear a new website is coming. That's what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing new merch is either coming or is it here? Is it already here, Councilman?
No, it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming with the website. It's coming.
The new merch is coming. You guys are not going to want to miss that. Indeed, the first 30 minutes of Raw will be commercial free tonight. So there's a lot of great things that are happening. So looking forward to all of that. Shout out to all of you in the chat. So many of you today. Thank you for engaging in what has been an absolutely amazing conversation. And remember, again, top of the hour, Raw Watch Along right here with the mayor. So come back, enjoy the festivities together. There's nothing like watching it together with family. And no telling what's going to happen tonight, but there should be some great moments, and we'll get to share them together right here on the stream. WWT Live will be back on Wednesday. Of course, tomorrow there is the watch along with the councilman for NXT. And then Wednesday, we've got WWT Live. And then our All Elite watch along with Courtney. And then, of course, on Friday, our SmackDown watch along with Honey. So, yeah, all sorts of great ways to hang out with a lot of your favorite hosts here from Women's Wrestling Talk, which, by the way, in case you didn't know, is the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Peace.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.